and today I am here with my friend
Jennifer Guskin,
and we need your help. We are right now working on advocacy for combating human trafficking, and here's why. So we'll give you a little bit of background of our story, why we're doing.
I was adopted as an infant by a couple who sold me throughout my childhood. I have been to Epstein Island and on multiple Lolita Express types of flights as a child. After I went public, Child Protective Services opened a substance exposed newborn case, even though all tests came back negative, and they told me that if I wouldn't stop posting on social media, I would never see my daughter again. I started to connect how I was adopted as an infant and then sold throughout my childhood, how many other children who have been through the adoption, foster, and CPS pipelines have also been trafficked to Epstein's Elk.
And as many of you guys know already, based on the work that we do at the Karis Project, I'm an American Indian born in Canada under the Jay Treaty. My father and I were exposed in the improper contagion mitigations for the COVID pandemic in early 2020. As a result of this, I lost everything: house, cars, corporate assets, jobs. Bank accounts were shut down in Canada, and I fled to the US as an American Indian, fully documented, and was trafficked by rogue agents in ICE and other agents in government, and forced to live with single American men. I was even imprisoned for 7 months initially, and then trafficked throughout the states. Put on full surveillance tracking and wasn't allowed to leave the city house or state without permission or work without permission. And that happened for many years, and I was on and off the streets because of that, and in and out of shelters. And that is just a small example of what many go through in this trafficking system, be it the family courts or otherwise. So that's why the Karis Project will be going to DC to speak with representatives and do live reporting. We're also going to be in contact with other families who are dealing with human trafficking, and through the CPS courts or through any other means, lesser versions of trafficking, and doing reporting on them live and otherwise. We will also be working on, we ultimately want to shine light on what's going on with the trafficking here in the US. And we also want to meet with various agencies in DC, and we'll be going back and forth for training sessions and other things so that we can be better equipped to help people deal with resolving some of the issues that we're seeing. We will also be putting forth petitions in government to help people get justice, and that's something that we have been working on already so far. We have some petitions that have recently been filed in the state of Colorado, Michigan, Texas, and Arizona, and we will be continuing.
But we can't do this on our own. We will be traveling to events and training courses, as well as DC on a consistent basis. We also have to get acceptable equipment, such as computers, cameras, interview gear, etc. There will be other miscellaneous costs that would also be like gas, food, and rooms if necessary.
So that is why we are working towards combating human trafficking, and that is exactly why we need your help. We cannot do this alone, and most what the Karis Project does is on its own dime. And so we do love and appreciate each and every one of you that support us and all the work that we do. As many of you know, we also live stream on Lindell TV every day. And everything we do, like I said, is on our own dime. So we appreciate all the love and support and all the people who do donate. And we would very much love and appreciate that still. Thank you, everybody, for your time and considerations. And thank you for all the support. And we will catch you guys in the next one, and hopefully we might see you guys in the future and come across you and maybe be able to do some great things together.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Karis Project podcast. Today, we are discussing some of the effects of this feminism and in the Black community and all of this sort of stuff. And so, Kaysha, you want to just kind of give us a few little intro before we get to it?
Hey y'all, Kaysha here. What's good? In the proverbial, oh no, not my not my thing being ripped. Let's just get into it. Let's just get into the clip. Let's just get into the clips.
Okay, I'm going to bring this one up here. And this woman is talking about being in between a strong, independent woman and the hyper femininity, which they're saying they're pushing. So let's get to it.
I am not a strong Black woman or a damsel in distress. Let's talk about it. Lately, there's been a lot of discourse about how Black women are demonized for our strength and our independence. People love that strength when we're holding a family together or rallying behind a cause. But then they turn around and use that strength as a way to dehumanize us. And I see a lot of Black women trying to combat this by embracing their damsel in distress. There are these femininity coaches who are making a living by telling Black women that the only way we can be safe and protected is if we're hyper feminine, timid, and soft. Now, if that's the way y'all want to go about it, then whatever. I can't do nothing about that. But I do want to say that it's okay to just be a Black woman. I am not the epitome of strength, the strong Black woman. Sometimes I'm weak as and I'm not some divine feminine damsel in distress. I'm not going to tone down my assertiveness or my personality to appeal to society's perception of womanhood. I am just a Black woman, and that is enough. Black women have varying degrees of strength, weakness, aesthetic, and energy, same as everybody else. And whether you're a Black woman that's strong, assertive, or masculine, or whether you're timid, feminine, and soft, we are all worthy of love, security, joy, and protection, period.
I'm sorry, but this is a next level delusion. I'm sorry, that don't even make sense. You can be a masculine woman. Are you saying that men should be gay? First of all, are you saying that men should be gay? Because when you tell a woman that it's okay for you to be masculine and you still deserve the protection and provision of men, you're saying that men should be attracted to masculine women. That is gay. You're saying that men should be gay so that women can do whatever they want. Like, do women not understand the words that come out of their mouth when they say them? They just think that they can do whatever they want without any consequence. That's not how that works, honey. That's not how that works, honey. Because if you're a woman and you want a man to protect and provide for you, but he's feminine and he doesn't do any of his natural man things, how is that going to work? How's that going to work? You're still attracted to what you're attracted to naturally as a woman. Let a man be a man. Why do women want to control men so bad? You cannot have your cake and eat it too. You cannot have your cake and eat it too. If a man wants to be a man, and wants a woman who's going to be a woman, you need to be a woman in order to get that from that man. There is a criteria that you have to meet to gain that from a man. If you want a man that's going to protect and provide for you, you need to be feminine. You need to be submissive. It's okay to like rely on a man that loves and supports you and cares for you, and the man that you respect and submit to. So it's okay to rely on him, but there's a certain character and attitude that you need to have. A man wants to come home to peace. He wants to come home to a woman that's going to greet him at the door with a hug and kiss and say that she missed him, that she loves him. He doesn't want to come home to a woman that's going to be like berating him or whatever. The way that women think that they can do whatever they want and still get whatever they want tells me that they are fatherless, that they grew up without a father.
No, it
makes sense.
It tells them that they're not, but it tells you that they're not the type of people that can lead, because leaders have to think about everything, not just themselves. And they look at men and they think at men in very different ways. Now listen to this next woman here. Go ahead.
You cannot even show up to your job and say, I want this job. I'm applying for this job and you're going to give me this job under the conditions that I want it. You're going to pay me for this job, this amount, and I'm only going to give this to you. In fact, these are the requirements. I don't have the requirements. I'm going to give you the opposite requirements and you're going to pay me anyways. See if you get that job. See how quickly you get kicked out the door. It doesn't even make sense.
Oh yeah. This is crazy. Let's look at this clip here now.
And I know this is the same demographic that complained about participation trophies in society, so I'm gonna sum this up really quick. Women are not participation trophies for men existing in life. You don't grow up as a man and get a woman just because you exist. If women don't like you, they don't have to date you. This fish guy that swiped 2 million times and didn't get a date, that's the right outcome because he's not attractive and women don't want him. That's not a failure of a system. You don't get assigned a woman when you turn 18. There's no get a woman free card. Women don't have to like you. They don't have to date you. They don't have to marry you, and they don't have to have your kids. And this weird mindset, I know that's what's pushing a lot of people with the abortion laws and no-fault divorce, because men really think that they are supposed to be able to get women like just by existing. Instead of you guys working on yourself, going to the gym, trying to be attractive, going to therapy, making more money, you can get the kind of woman you actually want, because a lot of you guys could get women, you just don't want the women you could get. But you got to stop this, dating apps are set up because men can't get dates. You can't get dates because nobody likes you, and nobody has to like you. We are not participation trophies. You want a woman, get out there and earn one.
Sorry guys, I'm a little bit I'm a little bit sick, but honestly, I think I don't agree with her in this. Like, what she said is funny, and in some aspects, on one side of things, yes, it's correct. Women, you don't automatically just get a woman just because that you're a man, just like you just don't get a man because you're a woman. But if you said the reverse, what she said to women would be all over, oh well, that's disrespectful, she has a good personality, and a man's gonna love her and provide for her, there's someone for her, plenty of fish in the sea. Girl, this guy literally can fish. If he ever doesn't have money and you guys are ever down and out, he could probably build you all a shed in the forest and fish, and you would eat and you would survive. Like, women don't think the way that they used to think, and because of the delusion of society today, women can be like, oh, I'm going to swipe past all of these guys thinking that they're going to get the billionaire to take care of them because they just don't like average guys anymore. And it's like, what makes you think that you deserve the guy that you want? Most of you don't deserve the guys that you want. You just think that you have to show up and look pretty, and you have literally nothing to offer except the size of your behind, literally, which is fake, that some other man paid for, that you famoosed into paying for your butt and your chest, and now you're flaunting it to everyone else. Most of you don't have nothing to offer except what's between your legs. And that's easy because you can buy that now from the store. Like, honestly, women today, I think that guy, like, yes, can he work on himself? Sure. Are the things that he probably can improve? Sure. But is there anything like really, is he an extremely hideous guy? No. Like, he doesn't even look like an exceptionally hideous person. He looks just like an average guy. I honestly don't know why for him to be swiping 2 million times and didn't get a date, that's questionable. I'm wondering if there's a character issue. But what I'm saying is, the way that women are actually looking at the average men is more so, I think, the cause of the problem, because there's a lot of good guys, even more attractive than that average looking guy, because obviously he's like an average guy or whatever. There's really attractive guys that are still getting screwed over consistently because women are just being delusional, like, just completely. They're good guys. They don't want to cooperate with the guys. They have the mentality of the other woman. I can be masculine and a man should still treat me the way that a man should treat a woman. Well, you're asking him to be gay. You're asking him to have someone head over him and be domineering and usurp his authority and actually still want to sleep with you and marry you and have kids with you. That's sick. That's sick. So it's like, I think it's a greater issue than just the fact that, and then the women on those dating apps, a lot of them are not right in the head too, just to be fair. I don't know. I could go on and on and on about this, but what do you think, man?
Well, I think that she's very delusional on that whole aspect, because women think that they should get men just by showing up. They're not
Exactly.
doing the things, they're doing things that men just don't even care about. And they think, well, okay, well, you're just going to take it anyway. It's like
Yeah,
this,
no,
it's like
that's not how
the
that works.
sacrifice that God asked Cain to give and Abel. And Abel did what God wanted, and Cain said, well, this is what you're going to take, and
What
you're
I'm
just
gonna
going to
get.
like it, right? And then what
Yeah.
did he do? He killed his brother because he was angry because it wasn't the situation. So women expect to come and give men a swift kick in the hind parts and then say, well, you're gonna take it and you're going to like it.
And that's exactly it. So why can't this man show up and be like, "Oh, I can be an average guy or a feminine guy, and you're just gonna have to take me as I am, and you're gonna have to be with me." That's the same twisted mentality that that other girl just came in and said, where, "Oh well, we can be masculine and all this, and the men just gonna have to, serve us as men the way that we are and like us the way we are." But the women are not even gonna do what they're demanding that the men do.
No, they're
The women,
not.
it's a whole double standard,
It's
because
a
then all those
complete double
3 million women that
standard.
tried to on, yeah, and all those women that didn't go with him, then they should have gone with him. They should have take their own advice, because I'm sure a lot of those women are not even much of a catch themselves. Like, let's
Well,
be so
they try to act like they are, but they're
yeah.
not.
And most of
They're
the people that anyway,
they're
because if
really
you
not.
most of the yeah,
And that's really the whole thing. You're seeing such a double standard that it's not even funny, right?
delusion. These people did not have fathers. I'm telling you, like, these people did not have fathers, and they had feminist and delusional boss babe mothers that had men in and out of their house on rotation, sleeping with them. That's why they thought that you could be a boss babe and still have and do whatever you want and still have men, because the men are still sleeping with these women, and women think that quantity equals quality, and it's not.
No,
It's not.
they think
A
that a
man still
man,
has to commit to you.
yes, and that's what they think, right? So
Ridiculous.
we're gonna listen to
So irritating.
this yeah, we're gonna listen to another woman. She's talking about how to get,
And
actually,
and
go ahead.
sorry, again, just quick. The fact that this guy actually knows how to fish and he's caught a big fish, that's actually really cool. Like, that lumberjack kind of like business is actually really cool, because all these guys that are flashing drugs and money like near their face and doing their money spread, these retards that don't know anything, most of them getting money in super quick ways and really messed up ways. But if you're really in a dire situation and you actually need to survive, bro, if he's not actually pushing you in front of the danger and saving himself, he's actually, regardless, even if he's not that kind of person, he's still not going to be able to keep you alive, like survival wise. Like, a lot of these
Yes,
men don't have skills to keep you alive if things hit the fan. You
yes.
women are stupid.
Now let's listen to this next woman on what she has to say.
So I'm a sociology major, so I'm often thinking about how we are socialized, especially as women specifically. And it's made me a lot more cognizant of the things that I want to unlearn and things that I want to stop participating in so I can have a better life, essentially. So I thought I would share some of those things with you guys. One of the biggest things is prioritizing other people before myself. I think that's something that even as a little girl, we're taught to start to do and like placate people and their feelings and take on that ownership. And that's something that I really, really am working really hard in therapy to unlearn, because I feel like that's just not a sustainable way to live. Not apologizing for things excessively. I'm all for taking accountability, but I feel like it gets to a point where women apologize for like things that we don't need to apologize for, like things that are out of our control or things that we don't need to be sorry for. Like when you start a video or something, you don't need to apologize for your appearance or things like that. Like you don't need to apologize for that. You don't owe the world prettiness. Downplaying your accomplishments, being humble, let's dead that immediately. You deserve to feel proud and you deserve to boast about the things that you have accomplished. As long as you're not putting anybody down, be proud of that and don't say, oh, I just did this or I just did that. No, you did that and you're amazing for it. Let's be proud. Being okay with taking up space, whether that is physically or verbally, being okay with taking up the space and knowing that you're entitled to that. And it's really liberating to realize that you don't have to be in every room trying to make yourself as small as possible. I'm not saying to just go around being like so obnoxious, but there's just certain things that we obsess over that I don't think we need to. Like, you're allowed to take up space. People need to make room for you. Get the fuck out the way. Tolerating misogyny or disrespect in order to avoid confrontation. I think in general, women need to be more confrontational because we are socialized in a way where we're like, we're going to make ourselves uncomfortable or not say things about things that are making us uncomfortable in order to keep the peace, in order to make everybody else feel comfortable, but you're making me uncomfortable. So we need to talk about this. And lastly, I can make more videos about this if you want, but another thing that I thought of is being responsible for men or other people's emotions and making excuses for bad behavior. I feel like women have this really, really badly. I think that the Sabrina Carpenter song, Lie to Girls, really encapsulates this really perfectly. Like, you don't need to lie to us because we will try to make things seem better than they actually are. And I feel like that starts from such a young age, because when boys are mean to us at school, they're like, oh, it's because he likes you, or Tommy's just having a bad day, or stuff like that. Like, we're taught from such a really, really young age to make excuses for bad behavior, be responsible for other people's feelings, and hold space for them in ways that they don't do for us. And I feel like that's a really, really important thing to unlearn as a woman, or the world will chew you up and spit you the fuck out. Like I said, I can make another video, like giving more examples of things I'm trying to unlearn, but I thought that I would share some of those because I've always been someone that looks at things from a sociological perspective, especially being a sociology major. I don't think that most of the things that we attribute to biology have anything to do with it.
Just sit down and say this. This is next level delusion. This is a perfect example why educated Black women don't get married, because that woman's extremely aggressive. Like, oh, we got to make the space and get the F out the way. Excuse me?
Confrontational.
If a man walked into a room full of other men and did that, he's going to get his teeth knocked out. Right? That women are doing, like, promoting these types of mentalities that would get men killed.
Yep.
And then they have all these laws protecting them. And if they say this, then they're going to weaponize it against them. But they don't understand what they're doing. They have no idea. They're like, oh, we don't need men. Well, who gave you those abilities to do what you're doing? It certainly wasn't women. They don't. It's like that part's lost on them.
She is going to be a terrible sociologist, and she already is, because why? She doesn't understand men. You can't understand society and sociology if you refuse to see the way that things naturally are between men and women and the way they naturally function. You are pushing your own delusion and your own delusional perspective on the reality of society, and you will fail time and time again. You are in therapy. You cannot help anybody. You are literally in therapy to try and make yourself feel better so that you stop trying to have any regard for others. You literally said that you are going to therapy to help yourself become a sociopath. Remove your remorse. This is why therapy is trash and nonsense, and I don't believe in it. I believe in, like, coaching people and mentoring and things like that. I do not believe in the therapy nonsense that we have going on today. This woman is delusional. Women today that are doing this nonsense, this is exactly why boss babes are destroying everybody. You're going around telling people, oh, your natural innate femininity, feeling remorse and compassion for people, being kind. What do you mean you can't walk? You can't feel like, can't say, oh, I'm sorry. Like, why would you, first of all, why would you want to be in a room and take up the most air and space in that room? What do you have to offer everyone in that room that you have the right to open your mouth?
Is aggression.
Yes, but why? But what value do you have? I do not go in a room. When I go in a room, I sit in the furthest corner for observation. I also remain quiet until someone speaks to me because I'm trying to observe. Why are you so retarded?
Because they want all of the attention for themselves, and they don't care who they push out of the way.
But usually even men, when they're arrogant and loud, it's because they know they have the most to offer in the room, and then the other men are like, might not like it, but they don't say anything because they're like, he has the most to
N-
offer, so I can't
no,
really.
they don't. Men don't do that. The man that talks and barks a lot, he's not the man that people
No,
need to fear.
I'm not saying the man that you need to fear, but I've seen situations where men are like loud and they're annoying, but like no one says anything because like maybe they have the most money in the room or they have the most status in the room, so then everyone just ignores it.
Yeah, because men don't pay as much attention to what's being said unless it's perceived as a threat. If the man's running his mouth, who cares? That's
Well,
the
yeah,
way
yeah, men are really
men look at it.
selfish.
But when women are doing this, they're doing it for a fundamental different reason. Women are not naturally aggressive the same way that men are, and men, like, I mean, what
Yeah.
she's saying is just ridiculous. Um,
Yeah, and this is why education, I don't believe in the university for the most part, because it makes women worse. She's gonna be an awful sociologist, and she's making herself an awful person. She's paying to go to therapy to become a sociopath.
let's take a short commercial break, and we'll come back on the other side.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to announce the next generation of energy drinks, Rev 7. It has no sugar and no caffeine. Instead, Rev 7 uses Go BHB. Go BHB is one of the body's primary ketones, and it provides the most efficient and clean fuel that your body needs. It also helps you stay energized all day with no crashes. Not only that, it produces 3 times more brain energy than sugar, which helps boost your memory, focus, and mental sharpness. It also helps reduce stress and helps balance your mood. Rev 7 does all that while being the best tasting energy drink ever. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% today. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7. For a limited time, you get our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. I drink Rev 7 every day and I absolutely love it, and so will you.
Yes, if you need any of the My Pillow products, go to mypillow.com/Karis or call 800-845-2942. There's other ways that you can support. You can see down in the description. There's an action plan there if you want to help the human trafficking and help Tina Peters out. There's also the donor box and Give Send Go, or if you're watching Rumble, BitChute, or Facebook, you will be able to see the links in the description, or you can go to all my links /the Karis Project and find stuff to support.
Yeah, sorry. Also, I think that women's problem, like they grow up, a lot of them, maybe they grew up in an abusive home or like I said, a fatherless home, regardless, whatever. And they did not see good examples because if you grow up in a house with God, you're gonna know you cannot ever your goal in life is not to be proud. Pride is literally of the devil. Literally. Like the characteristics that you should focus on, all the fruits of the spirit, that they're like that should be people's focus. Like when you everything that she said was completely opposing to the character of Christ. And that's why I'm
Yes.
like, growing up in a house without God at this point is abuse.
All right.
Like, I'm not gonna say that people need to be forced into that, but I'm just saying like it causes a lot of delusions.
Yes. Now let's listen to this woman talk about getting respect.
I want to talk a little bit about respect today. And I started thinking about it because I was reading the work of Eric Fromm. And he said that you can't respect somebody until you first know them. And this really aligned with me because I've always been one of those a-holes that didn't just respect people just because. I'm basically like, who are you? What do you do? Why are you wanting me to respect you? Because the fact that you're asking for it kind of means you might not need it. Like, if you're asking so much and it doesn't naturally come to you, then like, it's a problem. And in my work in the space of mental health and coaching and all the things that I've done, all the research that I've done, all the clients that I've worked with, the thousands of clients that I've worked with, I see that some folks that really fight for respect are doing so out of trauma. They've been injured, they've been harmed, they've been aggrieved in some place in their life, and they now want you to fill the void, fill the gap where they feel like they've lost respect, they've lost power. Like it's really about power in the past. Now your job is to fill it up for them now. Respect is one of those things that if you have to ask for it, you don't have it. They don't even want respect. They really want submission so they can get that power. When in reality, respect actually grows as a result of vulnerability. Because the more vulnerable somebody is with you, the more likely you are able to get to know them. And theoretically, the more you get to know them, the more you should respect them if they're doing things worthy of being respected. So getting respect is really about being seen, not being feared. But we have, through the trauma of our society, connected respect with fear. So if you want respect, do the work that you need to do so you can be a person that deserves and earns the respect of those around you. Not someone who bullies and dominates folks until they fear you so much they pretend they respect you.
Yeah, so I'm getting increasingly angry with each clip that we see, and I'm wanting to bash my head into the wall. Because you know what? What she just said is how women end up in dumpsters, like unalived in dumpsters. You cannot go around a man. I don't see men doing this, saying that when I see a man, I'm just gonna like disrespect him just because who are you? Like, that's how you start a fight. Like when as a woman, the thing that has kept me alive the most in life was respect. Even if the person didn't deserve respect, I give a certain degree of respect to every single human being for my own safety and well-being. And that has literally kept me alive in situations with people who genuinely wanted to do harm with me, because for some reason, I don't know why, you can reason with a man who has it out for you if you are respectful. I don't know why. I don't know, like maybe the grace of God as well, but like they have some weird code in their brain. But women have this idea that until I understand your position, your status, and your all this other stuff, then I'm going to respect you.
You know what?
You don't have that. Jesus wasn't rich.
What she's trying to do is to treat a man like a woman. She's talking about submission, like, oh, he's trying to dominate you and all this stuff, and I have to be submissive. They want men to be formed after their image. This is what this is doing, because they're trying to destroy men. They're saying that, oh no, we're not trying to destroy men, we're trying to be equal, but you're listening to them saying, and they're doing things that are absolutely destroying men. Now let's listen.
Well, why? But how can you say like how she was like shoot, what was I gonna say? I forget. Whatever.
I mean, let's just listen to this clip.
A lot of Black men are starting to shy away from Black women. We're angry, we're loud, we're violent. We always demasculize men, and that's exactly how Black women are.
Tough. I think men back then dated more white women and other races.
No.
Listen, Black men are still dating Black women. Black women are more.
I say there's none, but I think that a lot of Black men are shying away from Black women. Yeah, and the famous ones too.
And the famous ones too. Why do you ever think you would be like, why? What? Like, okay, I think on average, statistically, Black men date statistically Black women. But she said, oh, and the famous ones too. She's talking about the ones where she feels will really have her up in ranks, not the average Black man, because nobody wants the average Black man. Like, what's wrong with you? Because the average Black man is not going to be putting up with all of that. Like, what is, where are they off thinking that they can do these things? Like, these women are saying things and coming to conclusions that make no sense whatsoever.
No, they don't.
Like, maybe Black men are not dealing with you because you have a bad attitude, but predominantly, I think Black men like Black women. I mean, yes, there are the ones that they divert out.
Yeah,
I think statistically, they stick to Black women.
But listen to what this woman here says. And this is a Black woman. She's talking about how black men are treated by black women.
Baby, it is 2025. Can we please stop with this goofy outrage whenever it comes to black men being in relationships with non-black women? As a black woman myself, I have never understood this issue. Because as much as a lot of black women act like they just can't stand black men, I don't understand why y'all are mad. And then we'll make stupid ass arguments like if he don't want to be in a relationship with a black woman, it means he hates his mom or something like that. Because a white woman is what activates this man's libido. Why does he have to hate his mama because of that? And let's just play devil's advocate for a second. Let's just say he does have this underlying hatred towards his mom. Have y'all ever paid attention to how a lot of black men are actually treated by their mamas? So even if that is the case, why are we skipping over the fact that it very well could be justified? Of course, we have some exceptions, but as a whole, black men are actually treated horribly by black women, whether it was from a romantic relationship or from their mama or their auntie or their grandma. A lot of black men have experienced trauma that was caused by black women. Y'all have even got on here and acknowledged that black men who act like they have this hatred or this dislike towards black women is because of unresolved issues of trauma that they went through with their moms. The only thing I do agree with y'all on is that if they do have some underlying issues whenever it comes to their mother or whatever the case is, they should seek some sort of professional help for it. Those type of issues do need to be addressed. But y'all are skipping over the fact that the root to the issue is how he was treated by black women. Y'all want to hold black men accountable for not addressing their trauma. How about we hold the person who caused the trauma accountable as well?
Yeah, she's right. Yeah.
Oh yes, and when you have single mothers, it becomes worse because you get a think about it.
Mhm.
They come over with all their single friends, and they start bashing men, and there's a little boy in the room.
Yes.
And all they hear
Yes,
about
that's
how men are this and how men are that. They're so terrible, and this is what is ringing in his ears continually, and
Well, they'll say
everything else.
directly too.
Exactly. So, what do you think is that's going to do to a young man growing up in that situation? It is going to absolutely destroy him. Absolutely destroy him. This is yes. I'm gonna this is not going very well, and I'm gonna bring up here what a woman says on feminism in the black community.
They did not tell us that all of that being my own person and I'm independent would lead to separation, loneliness, celibacy, and lesbianism. They didn't tell us that if you give up the man, you're going to take one of these things and it's worse and it will destroy your nation. They made us think that it was some kind of glorified position to brag about the fact that I got my own job, my own credit card, my own car, so I don't need no man. I don't even know how we got that mixed up. Ain't none of that got nothing to do with being with no man. We have some serious relationship problems that nobody has been able to address us on because everybody wants to pretend that this is not going on. Over 60% of our women are single, widows, separated, or divorced. They don't have a man.
Ooh, boy. Yeah, she's right.
Oh yes.
Yeah. That's the truth.
Exactly.
And some true because a lot of the women out here, I saw a woman who was catering to a dog the way that more better than women even cater to men, a pit bull. And I was like, the fact that women will do this for dogs but not men is crazy. And then everyone was like, oh, she's a lesbian. I'm like, even worse.
Yes,
Even
that's
worse.
yes, yes, that is. And now we're going to listen to a woman who calls herself a feminist, and she talks about toxic feminism. Let's hear what she has to say.
People consider me a feminist, but today I'm going to call out toxic feminism and explain to people what the difference is. Toxic feminism believes that women are above men. I just want to be treated equally. Toxic feminists feel as though it is their right to verbally or physically abuse men. Feminists think that verbal abuse and physical abuse is wrong, no matter the gender. Toxic feminism claims that only women are the victims. Feminism does not dismiss the things men go through, but it also doesn't ignore the things that women go through. Toxic feminism demonizes men. Feminism accepts men, but understands that there are things that we as women still experience that need to change, like being told we deserved something because of the way that we were dressed. Toxic feminism is sexism. Feminism isn't. Toxic feminism is harmful. Feminism is helpful. Toxic feminism for women is pretty much misogyny for men. Toxic feminism reminds me of extremism in religion. It doesn't mean the foundation's bad. It just means there's in it that give the rest of us a bad name.
Yeah. So shout out to that black lady for trying to be a good person, but get it? Because the redheads are black. Boom, boom. But honestly, she's wrong. She's unfortunately wrong. If you go down to the roots of feminism, that is exactly what it is. She clearly doesn't know what she's talking about. Wanting to be treated equal as men is abuse. It is toxic because you're bringing men down to a lower standard and raising yourself up to the men's standard. That is abusive. Making a woman do the things equal to men is not it's not healthy, it's not good, it's not respectful, it's not loving, it is abuse. Making men try to be like women to make women feel better is also abuse. Like you cannot be equal to a man. You just need to accept that in life.
The
You can't do that. I'm
the
sorry.
the
You can't have your cake and eat it too.
when a woman enters into a man's space, the man's space fundamentally changes. And now they're wanting to force the change of the space to cater to them, which makes it worse for men to be in those spaces. And now they're driving them out of their own spaces, saying they want to be equal, but in fact, they're actually displacing and destroying them because they're catering things to a way that's going to inhibit men and it's going to promote them. But the only people who are doing this are men.
But you know what? This is also why women get raped. Because when women are forcing themselves into spaces with men and closing the boundaries between themselves and men, this is where they put themselves in positions, blinding themselves to the danger around them because they think they're on the equal playing field, and they get themselves in bad situations. I saw a video today where a girl was in a wrestling with a guy, and it was a wrestling match, and she's on top of the guy in short shorts, like tight spandex short shorts, and like this cropped top or whatever. And she's on top of him, chest in his face, like crotch over his crotch, butt spread and everything. And he's just sitting there he's laying there like this, like, just like he's screwed no matter what he does, no matter how he moves, no matter where he grabs her, he's going to be screwed. And when women put themselves in these positions, this is how they lose the boundaries in their mind, lose their own protection for themselves and their surroundings. They lose all spatial awareness. They make everything about them, which is actually literally the narcissistic whatever. And then they put themselves in positions for bad things to happen to them and then say, oh, why did this happen? I don't know why this happened to me. Are you kidding me? Like, are you actually kidding? You need to have some level of accountability for what happens to you, where you go, and the circumstances that you are creating for the destruction in your own life. Either you want to be on the equal playing field and have all the dangers that come with it, or you actually don't want that and you actually want to be a woman.
But
Do the hard work and be a woman.
listen to what this guy says about who benefits from feminism.
The whole sexual revolution has been a boon for caddish men, for the Hugh Hefner types. It's justified by contemporary liberal feminists as being something beneficial for women, but in fact, those who have benefited the most are the ones who have the most contempt for women.
Yeah, and I think that there is a sort of defeatism in thinking that we can't possibly constrain those men. We just have to try and ameliorate the effects of their behavior. That's a very sad move in feminism.
They have to.
So soft-spoken. What?
Feminism has to capitulate to the most female hating men.
Yes.
They've turned them on the men that are protective and said that they're controlling and they're destroying them. And then the men that hate the women the most are the ones who are benefiting it. Look at all the men that are just disgusting towards women and they're benefiting from it. And then the men that have the power that are disgusting, women are doing whatever they can because they want what they have and they're submitting to an abusive man that is just violating them by holding the carrot in front of their face. And this is really what it is. And then they expect to go in and have the men that would have been protecting them as husbands to go and protect them from these criminals while they kick them in the face. And they're trying to make slaves out of the good men. Like the woman's like, oh, I don't have to I don't have to, nobody man has to take you. You don't get something just for showing up, but they want everything for showing up. And this is where that mentality comes from. And then they're like, oh, well, we're some women are like, oh, we're not even going to reproduce. In some places, the women are like, why should I have a child with this idiot? I'd rather just let us go extinct before I repopulate with that man and let something come into my uterus. Like, well, you know what? There's a father that made you, right? And this is where women are getting to that point. Like, women don't have any idea of what they're provoking, because it'll go so far and then they'll see a backlash. And a backlash that will be very bad, because women don't see the same things the way that men do. And they think that they're going to be able to do this for so long. Men will just sit down and say, you're going to find out, because you can go, a lot of those women, they won't kill themselves. They won't. When things get hard, they're going to go in and try and do all that stuff, and they're going to want the men to do it. The men will be like, too bad. You figure it out. You didn't need us. And then they're going to find out, right? Like that. This is it, because some guys, they won't care, right? And this is what this is just only going to end in a very bad situation if it's not dealt with, right? And so forth. But we're looking at a bad situation that's going to be brewing. And this is where common sense needs to, like, I mean, it needs to prevail. Go ahead. Yeah. And so I'm going to bring up another clip here of this woman talking about the different paths between women and men, and how they say that it's an issue, because there's a serious boundary issue and a sense of entitlement that you see with these women that is beyond reason. And you can understand why these things are happening.
We're always growing too, right? What if there was a point in our lives where we didn't value ourselves, and like we were really going through something, and now we've kind of like found our light, found who we are, and we're not that person anymore. Like, we almost don't give people the opportunity and chance to like change and be better versions of themselves, because it's like, once you're labeled, that's who you are, and there's no changing that. You could be someone who's been like over 1 million times and had be the ones to make you essentially a whore, and then you can completely change, have a different mindset, not be that person. But like, it's so hard to like change that. But I feel like it's so accepted for a guy to be like, he used to be a
like, now I'm ready to
and
settle
now
down.
he's so ready to settle down. He's just looking for Mrs. Right. Whereas like, I don't feel like we ever hear that for a woman.
Yeah, women like the ones we've been seeing is quite literally the reason that I don't like to take things from men, because these women with the mentality like, I need to get whatever I want, whenever I want from these people, I need to show up, and that's all that I need to do. A lot of girls on the other end, they're like, they revert like completely opposite, because they're like, I don't want at any way to like, which is still damaging, because you can't do that. We're like, we don't want anything to do with that kind of like mentality to make things seem like that. And it's like, women, I don't know, it's just, it's really messed up. And what this lady is saying about the oh, well, your past, I mean, honestly, I could care less. I'm going to be honest. I know men, men look at you've taught me that men look at circumstances, like real men look at circumstances, and circumstances matter. Women think that's not really the case. Honestly, there's consequences for your actions. Should you judge someone if they're a completely different person? No, but that doesn't mean that a guy doesn't have the right to choose not to be with you. He still has his own free will, and you can't, if someone doesn't want to be with you, there's no point in trying to convince that person to be with you, because even if you convince that person to be with you, they're going to resent you. It's like, just be with someone who's going to accept you for who you are, the fact that you had a past, but you changed and you're a better person. Don't gripe and complain about the person who doesn't want you. Like, that's a level of control that I don't even understand. Get over it, because someone will want you. It's just the man that you want doesn't want you.
But there becomes a level of entitlement that is being given to women over these years, and it's becoming a reckless level. And when you sit down and you start fueling women with a sense of entitlement that I can do what I want, and the world is going to change around me rather than me adapting to the situation and finding a way through it, then you begin to start understanding why we're seeing rises in things like this.
A disturbing new trend happening in schools across America. Female teachers taking advantage of underage male students and committing sexual assault against them. We're noticing a pattern with many of these cases. They're using iPhones and social media in order to target the victim. Take 24-year-old Ricky Lynn Laughlin, for example. She worked as a special ed teacher in Missouri when she allegedly sent naked pictures and videos of herself to a 16-year-old student over Snapchat and then asked him to send pictures of himself in return. And then things escalated. He says Ricky kissed him and invited him over to her house to have sex while her husband was out of town. And Ricky was charged with 6 different felonies. 27-year-old Reagan Anderson, a former teacher and coach from South Carolina, is facing 2 counts of sexual battery on a student. She allegedly used Snapchat to send the teen naked photos. And then there's 38-year-old Lydia Pinto. Lydia was a high school gym teacher and coach, and the victim reported Lydia abused him when he was around 14 and continued doing so until his senior year. So what's going on here? Joining me now, host of Takedown with Chris Hansen and the Predators I've Caught podcast, Chris Hansen. Why is this trend seemingly picking back up again now?
I think you have better reporting, Jesse. I think you have awareness on the part of victims who are no longer as afraid as they once were to come forward. And I think you have parents who see suspicious behavior on the part of their children, then they can check cell phones, iPads, all kinds of other digital media. And the evidence is right there. These are criminals, these female teacher predators, but they're not smart criminals, and they leave a digital footprint.
Some are suggesting because of the COVID pandemic, people were remote for so long. Now all these teachers are back in the class with the students and they just can't control themselves.
You know, one of the questions I'm asked most frequently about our predator investigations, do you find women predators? And in our cases, we do not, because these are guys who go online, they like to meet a stranger, a child, groom them, and then meet for sex. In female predator cases, they don't like the anonymity. They like to know their victim. So this is a case where they see their victim, they have power and control over their victim, and they're reliving this fantasy. And what we're also seeing is a lot of fetish porn involving teacher-student sex. And so if you're into this sort of thing, how long is it going to be before the fantasy is no longer good and you have to act out on it? And that's what we're seeing now.
That's interesting that the women want the intimacy and the men want the anonymity. Tell us about your series now, because I was a huge fan of To Catch a Predator.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate that. For 20 years now, we've been going after men who try to meet and sexually assault children online. In the new Takedown series, which is on my streaming crime network, True Blue, we continue that tradition and embed with law enforcement across the country. And we have probably 60 new episodes up on True Blue right now, along with other crime investigative documentaries that we do.
All right, check it out. Chris Hansen, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jesse.
Hey.
Wow. That's crazy. That's disgusting.
But
you
notice that they start posting this stuff online? Why would you do
crazy.
that?
This is the thing. This is the thing. Women predators are so unhinged. They'll do things that male predators will not even do. Like he said, they don't want the anonymity. They want to be out there and to just publicly declare their predation. It's crazy, and people just let it slide. It's sick. Well, these ones got caught, thank God. But what the hell? What the hell? What about all the rest that are not getting caught?
Yes, and we're running up on time on this side here. We're going to come in and go into this a little bit more, because this bold pushing of people to go in and just do whatever we want without consequence is only fueling people like this even more. And
yeah,
I'm going to close.
Your kids, Dad.
Yes, I'm going to close here with your prayer, and then we'll be back on to give you final thoughts. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your love, grace, and mercy. We thank you for the hope that you have given us this day. Open our heart and mind to your will. Help the men and the women to come together to rebuild our families, our churches, our community, our nation. And Lord, that we could have some protection for the children is my prayer. In Jesus' name.
Amen. Thanks, Dad, for the prayer as always. Yeah, guys. Feminism is doing all sorts of filth. Like we seen from beginning to end all the different types of filth going on. And man, protect your kids. Homeschool your kids, man. Be a traditional wife so you can homeschool your kids and protect them. Anyways, thanks guys for tuning in. We'll catch you on the other end. Stay tuned in a few minutes for part 2. Thanks for your time and considerations. And to my dearest Karis, until we meet again, my friend. Oh well, ciao. Hey everybody, Kaysha here, and today I am here with my friend
Jennifer Guskin,
and we need your help. We are right now working on advocacy for combating human trafficking, and here's why. So we'll give you a little bit of background of our story, why we're doing.
I was adopted as an infant by a couple who sold me throughout my childhood. I have been to Epstein Island and on multiple Lolita Express types of flights as a child. After I went public, Child Protective Services opened a substance exposed newborn case, even though all tests came back negative, and they told me that if I wouldn't stop posting on social media, I would never see my daughter again. I started to connect how I was adopted as an infant and then sold throughout my childhood, how many other children who have been through the adoption, foster, and CPS pipelines have also been trafficked to Epstein's ilk.
And as many of you guys know already, based on the work that we do at the Karis Project, I'm an American Indian born in Canada under the Jay Treaty. My father and I were exposed in the improper contagion mitigation for the COVID pandemic in early 2020. As a result of this, I lost everything: house, cars, corporate assets, jobs. Bank accounts were shut down in Canada, and I fled to the US as an American Indian, fully documented, and was trafficked by rogue agents in ICE and other agents in government, and forced to live with single American men. I was even imprisoned for 7 months initially, and then trafficked throughout the States. Put on full surveillance tracking and wasn't allowed to leave the city house or state without permission or work without permission. And that happened for many years, and I was on and off the streets because of that, and in and out of shelters. And that is just a small example of what many go through in this trafficking system, be it the family courts or otherwise. So that's why the Karis Project will be going to DC to speak with representatives and do live reporting. We're also going to be in contact with other families who are dealing with human trafficking, and through the CPS courts or through any other means, lesser versions of trafficking, and doing reporting on them live and otherwise. We will also be working on, we ultimately want to shine light on what's going on with the trafficking here in the US. And we also want to meet with various agencies in DC, and we'll be going back and forth for training sessions and other things so that we can be better equipped to help people deal with resolving some of the issues that we're seeing. We will also be putting forth petitions in government to help people get justice, and that's something that we have been working on already so far. We have some petitions that have recently been filed in the state of Colorado, Michigan, Texas, and Arizona, and we will be continuing.
But we can't do this on our own. We will be traveling to events and training courses, as well as DC on a consistent basis. We also have to get acceptable equipment, such as computers, cameras, interview gear, etc. There will be other miscellaneous costs that would also be like gas, food, and rooms if necessary.
So that is why we are working towards combating human trafficking, and that is exactly why we need your help. We cannot do this alone, and most what the Karis Project does is on its own dime. And so we do love and appreciate each and every one of you that support us and all the work that we do. As many of you know, we also live stream on Lindell TV every day. And everything we do, like I said, is on our own dime. So we appreciate all the love and support and all the people who do donate. And we would very much love and appreciate that still. Thank you, everybody, for your time and considerations. And thank you for all the support. And we will catch you guys in the next one. And hopefully we might see you guys in the future and come across you and maybe be able to do some great things together.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Karis Project podcast. I just want, and obviously with my daughter here, I just want to make this very clear. This is nothing to do with women per se as a people, but I'm looking at the effects of the ideology of feminism, and what it's doing and how it's encouraging certain things, because I can go and ask 1,000 different women what feminism is, and I'll get 1,000 different answers, right? And people talk about all different types of things and try to just, like, this thing keeps changing all of the time. And when it keeps changing, how is it reliable? You need something that isn't going to change, because it's going to be like a ship without its anchor, and then this person feels a certain way, so they go that way, and that person feels a certain way, so it goes the other way, and it just keeps morphing in this and that. And then you have to support everybody. Like when they talk about the intersectional feminism, you can't support everybody. It's not possible, because some of the people are going to be very contradictory to what you're doing. And so, I mean, there has to be some boundary. We can't all get along. There's just like, I'd like to, but some people do things that I can't agree with, right? And that I know are harmful. So how can I agree and support them doing things that are harmful? This is where it is. Like, I mean, you like that peace, but sometimes there's necessary division. And if you're destroying children, that's a good reason. And so we're going to go in and look at this. Do you want to say anything before we get into this? I'm going to pull up this clip here of this next one. Then this is heinous. Then we're going to look at a woman who actually went ahead and groomed a child. And you're going to look at this woman first here. We're going to see another woman that comes and grooms a child.
Well, new developments in a case that shocked the country. The teacher impregnated by her 8th grade student will face a judge for the first time this morning. Our Sophia Ojeda is live downtown with the latest and some pretty serious charges against her, Sophia.
Yeah, good morning, Rachel. She is now facing continuous sexual abuse of a child after she admitted to having a sexual relationship with her 8th grade student. Prosecutors say 24-year-old Alexandria Vera, a teacher at Stovall Middle School, not only engaged in a sexual relationship with one of her 13-year-old students, the mother of one also got pregnant by the 8th grader. But in court documents, Vera says the student's parents knew about the relationship and they approved of it, allowing the teen to spend the night at Vera's home in Spring, where they would engage in sex on a regular basis. She told an investigator she would drop him off at home in the morning so he could catch the bus to school. The relationship allegedly lasted for 4 months, ending in January with a pregnancy that Vera terminated. Vera turned herself in on Wednesday morning. She's currently out on bond. Again, she now faces 1 count of continuous sexual abuse of a child. She is due here in Harris County Court at 9 o'clock this morning. We'll be here and we'll bring you the latest developments coming up on Channel 2 at 11. Live downtown, Sophia Ojeda, KPRC, Channel 2 News.
The parents knew about it and approved him for sleepovers at her house. What in the trafficking? Like what? Arrest the parents.
I think the parents should go to jail. I think the parents should go to jail too. You're gonna let a teacher. Yeah, as a parent, you're gonna let somebody rape your child
and then drop him off the next morning so that the bus can pick him up for school. I beg your pardon. Arrest the parents. Lock them away for death penalty. I'm sorry. Capital punishment. That's the worst. The parents should go to jail longer than the rapist at that point.
Yes, you allowed somebody to rape your child. Like this is
wow.
But this is self-entitled ideology that's coming there. And I'm not saying that every woman is going to do this is nonsense. But when you're teaching this nonsense to someone who's already going to be predisposed to being disturbed, you're going to push some people over the edge. You can't teach people to do things without consequence, right? And then you're looking at all these other factors, like the guy talked about the school thing. This is what some of these girls who are watching this pornography that are seeing that as a teacher, it's acceptable to sleep with your student. And then you're going to be pushing this into their heads. Then what's going to happen? Because this is what happens. I guarantee some of these girls have been either abused or they've been watching pornography or something from when they're young. Right? And then you're going to teach them that they can go and do whatever they want and that they're going to have all of this stuff on their side. Like, you got to just put the brakes on this. And this is, yeah.
It's probably easier for people to come up with these ideas, like you said, if they're traumatized, and then you don't give them the boundaries and tell them they can do whatever they want and they should feel pride, they shouldn't feel remorse, nothing, just like that girl was talking in the other clip that we watched in the previous stream. Oh, just do whatever you want, and men need to accept you, and you just need to show up and
that you can come into that space and do whatever you want, and everybody needs to get the F out your way. That's not the kind of mentality you want to teach to a predator.
Yeah, especially if a woman is traumatized from whatever messed up stuff she learned as a kid or whatever, and she's watching the pornography, like you said, grooming herself into. But prison, man, prison. This feminism, it needs to stop, because honestly, this the sexual depravity in our world right now has never been this high than when feminism dropped.
Well,
like new feminism.
It's constantly changing, and they say that it's evolving, but it's human beings doing this. You're always going to get people that are going to do some delusional and crazy things. I'm not saying that it's never done anything good, but I'm saying that as a whole, like, there's a drawback. We need to have some kind of course correction for what we're doing here. We're going to look at this.
Pros, there's more cons than there is pros. That's how it was set up from the jump. It was never going to be more pros than cons. The pros, in fact, that you have from feminism actively leads you toward the con. What you think is the pro, if it makes sense.
Yes. Sorry. We're going to pull up this clip of this woman, and this, we'll just get to it.
A lunch lady in Connecticut has admitted that she sexually abused a teenage boy, and now she's pleaded guilty to 2 felonies. And it all happened right before she was supposed to go to trial. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Elizabeth Milner. 33-year-old Andie Rosafort, a cafeteria worker in Danbury, Connecticut, entered pleas in state court on Thursday, which means she'll avoid having her dirty laundry aired out during a trial. It was set to start this week. Now, she did admit to sexually assaulting a 14-year-old boy. Right now, we don't know the exact terms of her plea agreement or her potential punishment, but we may learn more at a court hearing next month, after New Fairfield High School admin reported that there might be an inappropriate relationship between one of their students and an employee. When the allegations were made, Rosafort resigned from her part-time position. A friend of the teen called his father back in January of 2023 to tell him that they were attending a party at a friend's house. That's when the teen suddenly said he needed to leave for a little bit to pack for a trip, but that he'd be back. When he returned, he was acting strangely, according to his friend. The friend later found out that he had left the party to have sex with Rosafort. Police say Rosafort picked up the victim from his friend's house and drove a short distance away, and that's when the assault occurred. We're not going to get into the details of that encounter, but during a forensic interview with police, the victim allegedly told them that he felt uncomfortable after it was all over. So he left Rosafort's SUV and went back to the party. The teen reportedly told his parents what happened soon after. Officers found text messages and explicit content from Rosafort on the teen's phone, suggesting Rosafort had been grooming him for some time. According to police, multiple students told them that the middle school lunch aide was talking to freshman boys on social media like Instagram and Snapchat. When Rosafort realized there was a warrant out for her arrest, police say she turned herself in, and she posted a $100,000 bond and was released on the condition that she have no contact with any minors besides her own children, and she's not allowed on social media at all.
This woman has children, and she done this with a 14-year-old. Like, where? I don't look like I don't understand. I don't understand how you can look at a child and feel that way. I don't understand. I've been a substitute teacher, and when I see these kids, I'm just like, they're kids. Like, what, why, how do you, like, this breaks my brain. This breaks my brain, because how are you as a grown woman feeling comfortable abusing a kid like this? And then also again before the trial, like right before the trial, like you just didn't stop, you just continued, you just decided to plead guilty but continue. Like
No. She didn't. She pled guilty so that they didn't have to come out and talk about all the stuff in the trial, and so she can just take the plea deal and so forth. Like,
she didn't want people to know how wicked and disgusting she is.
yes, and yes, because listen,
That's crazy.
This they're going to talk about some of the stuff that went on, and when I saw yeah,
I couldn't have that job. I couldn't sit there and say stuff like that, because the things would be so outlandish that I would be like probably sometimes laughing, being like, what kind of world do we live in, man? We're cooked.
well, yes. Listen to the stuff. Listen to the stuff that this woman was doing.
Can't be for real right now.
Just listen to some of this stuff.
Now let's take a closer look at the arrest warrant application filed in Superior Court in February of 2023. The victim described Rosafort as a lunch lady when he was in 8th grade during the semester before summer of 2022. He described how he and all of the students found her funny and personable, and the students, including the victim, found her Instagram profile, and the victim then added her on Snapchat. The victim then stated he and Rosafort began messaging via Snapchat over the summer of 2022, leading up to his 9th grade year. The victim stated in September 2022, while at a friend's house, was the first time he received a nude photo from Rosafort via Snapchat. The victim stated he remembered Rosafort's Snapchat was the Peaches page, and she used the same username for Instagram. The victim recounted that after following each other on Instagram, Rosafort messaged him via Instagram to add her on Snapchat. The victim detailed that the first time he received a nude photo from Rosafort, she had messaged him and asked him, "You want to see something?" The victim then stated he received a picture of Rosafort's vagina from her. The victim stated he was surprised he received a photo from her, so he stated he asked Rosafort if she meant to send the photo to him, and she then sent another photo. The victim stated that many times Rosafort sent unsolicited photos and videos. The affidavit also states that Rosafort specifically asked for the victim to send her photos of his private area. And because we live in a day and age where there's practically a record of everything, detectives found videos on the victim's phone of Rosafort. The investigator wrote in the arrest warrant application, "I viewed 8 videos recovered from the victim's phone with written consent. The videos were iPhone screen recording videos sent from Snapchat, specifically from the username The Peaches Page, which I was able to confirm with observation. The videos all contained explicit content and depicted Rosafort, who I was able to readily identify in lingerie or nude." Investigators were also able to use cell phone tower pings to confirm that Rosafort was in the area of the victim's friend's house when the assault occurred. Rosafort was charged with 1 count of sexual assault in the 2nd degree, 1 count of enticing a minor by computer, and 1 count of risk of injury to a child. She entered a guilty plea to the sexual assault and injury to a child charges last week. Her next court hearing is at the end of September.
Wait a second. So you're telling me they have all this technology to ping cell phones to find out when from the past to find out that she was in the area of when the assault was occurred and all this other stuff, but all these rapists are running free, that all these rapists and traffickers are just running free right now? Make it make sense. All the resources in the world were just pulled together for this one woman, and thank God. But I mean, what about the rest of them? All the resources that they're giving these cell phones to the people that come across the border and they're going missing, but they can't ping those cell tower locations. This stuff tells me right now that these people are doing things on purpose to let rapists and traffickers free right now in this country. I remember when I called the police because I had got attacked by a bunch of dogs, and the lady was asking me for my precise location. I'm like, I don't even know. And I was like, can't you ping it? She's like, I can't ping the location, ma'am. We don't do that. That's just on TV. I was like, I know you're lying, but I ended up like having to look on my Google Maps and try and pull like exact streets and stuff. And she was still like, ma'am, like this tells me that these police people are allowing people to get raped. All these little boys and little girls in school, all this stuff, all these people who are doing this abuses and they're getting away with it. It's on purpose. 100% it's on purpose.
Oh yes.
When they just said they picked that tower location to know, man, no.
Oh yes.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah, and it gets worse.
It's unclear right now if she'll face sentencing on that day. Well, here to talk more about this case is criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Serena Townsend. Serena, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. So talk to me a little bit. Were you surprised at all that Andie Rosafort pleaded guilty and avoided a trial in this case? And again, this is like on the eve she was supposed to go to trial.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily surprised. What we see in a lot of these kinds of cases is that the defendant does like to go to trial simply because usually the plea deals are very aggressive and they require you to do a lot of things. Sometimes you could avoid jail time, but for the most part in these cases, at the very least, you have to admit what you did and you have to register as a sex offender. So a lot of times women, men in this situation, they do like to take the case to trial to see if they could beat the charge. So it is a little bit surprising in that way.
Mm-hmm. And she hasn't been sentenced yet, but what do you think the appropriate punishment will be for this case?
Oh man, I always feel like the appropriate punishment is never the one that actually happens. Because think of it this way, when you take a plea, it's a compromise. Typically in a compromise, both sides walk away a little bit disappointed. So I have a feeling that the plea certainly required her to admit her guilt. Hopefully it required her to plead guilty to a felony rather than a misdemeanor. Certainly requires her to register as a sex offender. But I do wonder if they got any jail time out of her or if they're going to place her on probation.
If she does avoid jail time in this case, do you think that does a disservice to the victim in this case as well? And do you think that's also because, if there was a male defendant doing this to a female victim versus a female defendant doing this to a male victim, what do you think kind of the disconnect will be if she avoids jail time?
Sure. I think that there is a double standard still in today's day and age between the female defendants and the male defendants in sex crimes cases. So I do think that perhaps, the victim and certainly the victim's family might feel a little slighted if she does get away without any jail time. Then again, I think if she does get away with no jail time, the prosecutor probably felt like this is a better deal than having to force the victim to take the stand and testify and confront his abuser. Because as we all know in this field, that is kind of opening up the wounds and re-traumatizing the survivor of the sex assault. So there is that compromise there.
And we cover a lot of these cases here at Law and Crime.
I guarantee you that the boy wouldn't care about the trauma if he could put her in jail.
Yeah, and she's gonna reoffend. Like, she's gonna reoffend. She's gonna go and rape some other little boy, or if not the same boy. Like the one woman, remember, who we showed the clip of her? She ended up raping one of her students. She got pregnant by him, went to jail, come out, raped him again, had another child with him. Then when she got out, then married him. Like, and then years later they divorced after he realized like he was groomed like his whole like adolescence to that woman, and like that these people, they're so brazen, they're just going to keep going after these children.
This is absolutely unhinged. It's absolutely unhinged.
The fact when they said misdemeanor, potential misdemeanor or probation, I was like, I beg your pardon? For raping a kid? No, man, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yes. This is disgusting.
Sixers have had more time in prison for standing outside of the Capitol.
Exactly. And female
is rotting in jail right now.
Female sex offenders, they don't get anywhere near the time that men do. They don't. They do not. But let's continue.
It's unclear right now if she'll face sentencing on that day. Well, here to talk more about this case is
that's the wrong one. Whoops. I'm gonna go and put this. Let me put this here. We get the right one up. Whoops. Back and get this, because that is. There we go. Yeah.
And what I found interesting to me is this pattern that we're seeing where these defendants are luring these victims and grooming these victims. First, it starts off with a social media ad, then it turns into a nude photo exchange. What are your thoughts on how social media plays a role in sometimes in these crimes?
Social media is very dangerous for young children in so many ways, and particularly in this way. First of all, how did she even get that, that child's social media handle? It's not, appropriate for her to even have that. And that's literally step one, let alone the further communications and then what it turned into. So it's very scary for kids these days with social media because they're vulnerable. And it's very strange to me that this was a lunch lady rather than a teacher. I mean, usually when people are able to manipulate children, it's because they have a very close contact with them in an innocent way at first, whether it's a clergyman or a teacher, a doctor, things like that. But here, if it's a lunch lady, how was she able to get that deep into conversation and relationship with these children? And like you said, the social media is what's kind of bringing her to that place. So it is dangerous, very dangerous.
And the details in this case really break my heart for the victim, where, I think maybe in the past, people might recognize this as like a cool thing, which obviously it's not. It's disturbing. It's honestly, quite frankly, just disgusting. And what's interesting is I think that the victim knew something wasn't right. The victim knew that he was uncomfortable. The victim told his parents, told his friend. What are your thoughts on just the victim's mindset going throughout this entire process? But even the assaults, what are your thoughts about just kind of how uncomfortable the victim felt in this case, who is just a boy himself going through puberty, going through, that awkward phase in their lives? But what are your thoughts about that?
Sure. It's a very difficult time for children at that age as it is. And you're dealing with all sorts of different hormones and feelings and insecurities. And here you have this grown woman taking advantage of that. And you asked me how I feel about him. I feel very proud of him that he spoke out, because you're right. In the past, especially with male victims, there is that stigma. And I think a lot of people tend to say, well, they weren't harmed. This was good. He's high-fiving his friends down the hallway. And studies have shown that that's absolutely not true. This is a traumatic experience for somebody that age, especially, including for boys. And so kudos to him for speaking out and for participating as much as he did, obviously, in the prosecution to allow them to get to this point where they've had enough evidence collected so that they could get a plea out of her.
Yeah, you know what? This makes me think like I have a friend. Well, no, I don't have a friend. I once upon a time had a friend that I knew in school, in high school, where she was in grade 12. I think she was dating a guy who's in grade 8 or grade 9 or something. Yeah. She became a teacher. Yeah. She became a teacher. And then this is like making, and I was like, this is weird. I don't know if you should. She's like, oh no, but like he's such a man, like he's so much more mature than I was like, no. I really don't think you should do this. I really don't think this is a good idea. She dated him for a long time. She was like madly in love with him. And we stopped being friends shortly, like not too long after, yeah, we're not, obviously we're not friends anymore, but this makes me think of that. And then the fact that she became a teacher is so concerning to me, because it's like that type of person mentality, and she's very much a feminist, and that type of person mentality are the ones who are becoming teachers. So
Yes.
what's to stop that from continuing? Nothing.
That's really it. Well, let's take a short commercial break and we'll be right back.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to announce the next generation of energy drinks, Rev 7. It has no sugar and no caffeine. Instead, Rev 7 uses Go BHB. Go BHB is one of the body's primary ketones, and it provides the most efficient and clean fuel that your body needs. It also helps you stay energized all day with no crashes. Not only that, it produces 3 times more brain energy than sugar, which helps boost your memory, focus, and mental sharpness. It also helps reduce stress and helps balance your mood. Rev 7 does all that while being the best tasting energy drink ever. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% today. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7. For a limited time, you get our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. I drink Rev 7 every day, and I absolutely love it, and so will you.
Yeah, so if anybody needs any MyPillow products, go to mypillow.com/Karis or call 800-845-2942. Use the promo code Karis. You can get the energy drinks. You can get, any of the MyPillow products, the beds, the pillows, the bath towels, and all that kind of stuff. Or you can support there at the donor box or the Give Send Go, or you can go to the links on Rumble, BitChute, and Facebook. And you can see all the links in the description, or you can go to all my links. All my links / the Karis Project. And yeah, so coming back to this is we're seeing like a serious issue with the amount of this depraved behavior. This is just insane. Absolutely insane. And so forth. And we're gonna just bring up the last thing here where this woman comes up and they talk about some of the issues that were going on, because it wasn't just like I'll just play it. This woman was like some kind of predator to begin with. He was there targeting children from the jump.
In the past, we've seen victims who have sued their perpetrators in cases like this. Do you think that this is an avenue or a path that the victim could also take in this case, even though there were criminal charges filed too?
You know, it is really interesting. Every case is different. And in some cases, you may not be able to. I think he might have an opportunity in this case because the school had a certain duty to protect him. A lot of times people feel it may not be worth it to sue an individual. They may not have the deep pockets, if you will, to make somebody whole again. But if a school is liable, then he might make, it might make sense to do this. And from what I saw, it sounded like there were already complaints to the school about this woman or maybe other people, other teachers, adults, with respect to sexual acts with these children. And it sounded like the school did an investigation and didn't find anything. So to me, they were on notice, it sounds like, and it's probably worth pursuing, at least inquiring about a lawsuit against the school and the individual.
And as we continue to see more cases like this, what are your thoughts on what schools can do, school districts, but even as well as parents, as far as having those really tough and quite frankly, awkward conversations with their children? What are your thoughts on that?
Sure. I mean, parents are parents and they need to protect their children, but they also feel like when they send their children to school that they're protected at school too. And the onus is on the school while the child is there to protect them and to make sure that their teachers are vetted and trained. Schools, in order to make better choices, need to do a better job in their hiring process. And they also need to bring people on to train their teachers and their faculty who aren't teachers on, these kinds of things, whether it's a scared straight type of thing where they tell them, look, you could choose not to follow the law and you could do the wrong thing, but these are the types of consequences that you're going to face if you do that. Obviously, the better thing would be to train them to prevent all of these kinds of things from happening. So I do think schools need to be more vigilant. They need to be auditing their hiring practices and the teachers that they hire. And they need to listen to their students when their students are saying, hey, something is off about this teacher, something's not right. They need to give, their students a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt in these kinds of things. Kids are not stupid. They're just young.
Exactly. Serena Townsend, thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, so this is why when I was in school, I wasn't respecting teachers just for the fact that you're a teacher, you told me to do something. I'm not doing it if I don't agree with it, because you're not going to do anything to me all type of ways. And if I was a kid, if I had a kid and they were in school, I would be like, no, if a teacher tells you to do something that you don't agree with, do not do it. Like, I can respect you as a person, but not to the point where I'm going to do what you told me to do just because you want me to do it. That's not how that flies, because a lot of kids today are being told that they need to listen to the teacher with complete impunity and complete authority. Like, a lot of teachers will take kids' phones. I wasn't doing that, because even if I don't agree with the fact that you have your phone, what if something happens and now I have confiscated your phone and now you're in a dangerous situation, because things pop off at any moment in time. You don't know. And I don't believe it's my authority or my autonomy to take certain control away from children just to force them to listen to what I want them to do. If you have to do that to get a kid to listen to you, then you're a very bad teacher to begin with. I don't like the way that these schools are doing things, because it puts children in the position. Most of the kids, the reason they don't do anything or don't say anything is because they're like, oh, well, I have to do whatever my teachers tell me to do, or else I'm going to get in trouble. And when you go and report these teachers, well, all the teachers are typically friends. That one teacher was a part-time person. Who knows if they were contracted out by another company, because a lot of teachers that come in are not even actually direct employers of the school, but they're contracted out by other companies. Perhaps she was a part-time employee at that actual school. But this is the point. They have so many different things happening in schools these days. They don't care. And a lot of the teachers don't even like the students, so they don't even take a single word of what the kids say these days. If you have a kid in school, they do whatever they want according to what their parents teach them to do.
No, yes. And when there's this whole negative aspect towards men, this becomes a problem, because then they'll be like, oh, well, maybe I'll just take the boy and whatever else like this. And then like the man was talking about this whole school teacher student thing going on that's also fueling, but we're going to listen to this woman talk about things. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, yeah, even quickly, even when I was a substitute teacher, I seen that they intentionally abuse little boys. And when the little boys retaliate, like the girls will do something bad to the little boys, and maybe they'll retaliate after like the fifth or sixth time out of frustration and like aggravation. They're a kid. Then they will punish the little boys and reward the little girls for the nonsense to the tune of like grade 1 girls beating up little boys unprovoked, not even out of self-defense, just unprovoked. And when I asked them, do you think that you'll always be able to do this, that boys will eventually be bigger than you? She's like, no, I'll always be able to beat up boys. I don't care. I can do whatever I want. Little kids being taught that it is okay to abuse little boys and have no consequences whatsoever.
That's what they're taught, that it's okay to it's okay to abuse the men. Listen,
Yeah, and the teachers join in.
listen to this girl talking.
Women, please, please, please listen to older women here on TikTok. We are all waking up to the games that men play on us. We're waking up in massive numbers. If you listen to us, the older women on TikTok, we will tell you the truth about what's really going on and how men manipulate and use women so that you don't get taken advantage of like a lot of women in our lives. And in case anything does happen, you're not left in a really bad position. You're prepared for the worst. You have to realize something. Men are programmed to want access to a woman's body. They don't see us as real human beings. They see us as a sexual object. The game of romance has nothing to do with real love. It's just sexual desire. We've been fed this lie through Cinderella stories and through our grandparents. But the truth is that men only want to find something they can dominate and conquer. Men have taken a very long time to evolve, and they're still very far behind women because we've had to evolve in order to survive. We have children. We had to develop love. We had to develop empathy and compassion, while men were just running the streets, finding another woman to conquer. Please don't be fooled. Any man who talks to you is interested in you, quite literally. Men act very different to women who are unattractive than to women who are attractive. I've witnessed this firsthand. In fact, when I'm my most attractive, I can be mean and nasty to a man and he'll still be sweet to me. But if you're ugly or even average looking and you're mean to a man, it can be very dangerous. They will be very cruel and mean and actually talk back and aggressive with you. Don't get it twisted. They're very upset inside because they know the power that we have, that we're always going to be desirable all of our life. I knew a woman in her 60s and she got a man within a week. But men find it difficult the older they get to actually acquire a woman. They'll tell you the lie that the older you get, the more unattractive or less desirable that you are. That's simply not true. A man will take access to any woman's body if he gets the chance. They've also called us W's and SLTs when really they were the promiscuous ones the whole time. If you give a man a chance at accessing your body, he will take that chance, even if he doesn't find you that attractive, even if he doesn't like you as a person. That's why we have to make men wait, because men will literally pounce on anything. We are the ones who have had to have the discernment. We are the ones who have to see through their manipulation. If a man wants to be friends with you, there's something more that he wants from you. It's never about friendship. Please don't get the game ran on you. If a man is talking to you, if you simply wave at a man, he takes it as flirting or that you're interested. Always remember that he wouldn't give you the time of day if you were unattractive. Let him prove himself to you and actually see if he can treat you with love and kindness. But even then, you're always going to be seen as just an object to a man. He does not have the evolutionary consciousness required to hold love. Only women can do that. And most women develop the highest amount of love once they have a baby. Their hormones increase and they literally hold the highest amount of love known to humans. Men will never understand this love because they have just been desiring their whole entire lives. Few of them will acquire a deep, meaningful love. They can use these words to tell you they love you, but it doesn't mean they actually know what they're talking about. They confuse love with desire, with sexual attraction. My father even told me the physical will keep you together, but after that, you need to make sure there's more there so that you stay together. Needless to say, once that was gone for him, he turned into a monster. And once he found a woman across seas, she ran a very big game on him simply because she was pretty, scammed him his entire life. Don't get it twisted. If you have blonde hair and a nice figure, you can almost get away with murder with some men. They are that delusional and that insane about beautiful women and accessing their bodies. Even if they never do, they will give money, they will give resources, and they will put up with all kinds of things that women would never put up with, or what they would never put up with if you were average looking or unattractive. Please don't waste too much time. And by that, I mean a lot of time dating or talking to men. They will waste your time because they're simply hoping that they can get access to your body. Work on your talents, educate yourself, start a business, always, and I mean always, have your own money, your own shelter. Never rely on a man. Never become dependent upon a man because he's only there for your body. And again, if you need any more advice, just look at the comments. Women will tell you the truth. We're coming together and we're helping each other out. You're not going to get the truth from men. You're just going to get more lies, words, and manipulations.
I can't stand that I just had to sit through that. I'm not even gonna lie. I can't stand listening to that. That other lady talking about compassion. First of all, the lady who raped the boy had her own children. So she's come to her highest evolutionary consciousness and she's raped the boy and she's had her own children. So what's broken? What's broken? Talking about manipulation you're muted, man. Talking about manipulation and deception from man. You're wearing makeup and false eyelashes. Your face is fake.
She's at risk of doing that. Female sex offenders, they're more likely to rape their own children or those in their family than men are.
But what she's saying is a lie. Men love more than women. Men love more deeply than women. Women actually cannot love properly if they don't have men around to support them because they're focused on too many survival things and they cannot men bring out the best in women. Women are their best versions of themselves when they have a good man next to them. Women don't know how to function properly when men are not around because it's just too much weight of the world on top of their shoulders all at once. They cannot handle it. They're not built for that. You're a liar. You're a liar.
Think about this. Think about this right now. All of these women are talking about these men being trash. Who enforces rights in this world? Who protects the rights? Who protects it?
Not
Men.
Women.
Who the space that they have right now? Who gave them that? Men. The who maintaining that space? Men. The same ones that they're saying that are so terrible. So if they want to draw into that camp and say that this is the case and they're going to do whatever this and that, you think that when the men withdraw their protection, you're going to win? Like, think this through. I mean, saying that you see, this is where this whole idea of evolving comes from. The nonsense. You're not evolving. You're becoming more base and you're looking to destroy the human race to satisfy your feeling. That's nonsense. That is absolute, utter rubbish.
And the lack of gratitude and the lack of awareness is insane because men do a lot to create circumstances for success of the women that they care about. And even just having a man in your life that you're talking to will make you a better person. Like the things that you watch that man do with you and with others and himself, the way that that man interacts with you, like, is going to make you a better person. She's clearly either delusional and not realizing the things that men are doing around her that are actually helping her, or she's not surrounding herself with good men. And she's right about something where, yeah, for some men, who are also delusional and stupid. If you have blonde hair and a nice body, you can be scammed out of anything. But those men are not men you want to be with anyways, because they wouldn't be good men to you even if they dated you, because they don't understand how to have a good family. They probably, I don't know, they probably are not actual good people. Like what she's saying as a whole, saying that women are so much better. If women are so much better than men and more evolved, why are they being manipulated by men? Why is it not the other way around? Why are men still manipulating women if you're so evolved? Idiot. Honestly.
This is where
if
they're.
Men are so evolved, why do we need men to protect us? Why is the system predominantly run and operated by men? It's not because they're gatekeeping it. And if we're so much better and evolved than them, it wouldn't matter if they would gatekeep it, because we would create the circumstances to take it by force and bend their hands and their will.
They're realizing that they got this because of men giving them the ability to do this. I just want to bring one.
Tell the truth is a lie.
Yeah. So I'm going to bring this last thing because we're going to close back in with the black women. This woman is saying that they've been lied to. We're going to hear what she has to say.
There is a strange fascination with the single black woman that is just out of control. What I found is that Western media has the tendency of promoting and valorizing single black women, or if a woman is married, of usually finding a way to suggest the fact that she's not happy, that she's somehow being constricted or constrained within her marriage. We see that happening all the time. And it's just a reminder to me that there's legitimately an agenda out there to keep black women from thriving. Like out there, for sure. I don't know if it's media, I don't know if it's America, I don't know if it's demonic. It's probably all the above, but it is inspired by the devil. Straight up, because there is no way you can tell me that a woman out there is thriving and that she is being her full self when she is outside of her natural God-given context, which is a community. I'm not sitting here and saying that every woman has to be married today in order for her to be thriving. No, what I am saying is that black women are human beings like everybody else. They are not these impervious, godlike, superhuman, superwoman, entities that can somehow thrive in the midst of everything else. And it's not lost to me that at the same time, this 12-foot huge, godlike impervious statue was put up in the middle of Times Square, that happened at the same time that black women lost their jobs more than anybody else in the USA. Black women are always being told that they're strong, independent, and that they are stronger than really anybody else. And that not only do they not need a man or a community, that they should actually be able to thrive without the help of that. But the problem is that this system is getting to the place to where human beings alone can barely survive by themselves with these current economic struggles. And black women are actually the most susceptible to these things. Single mothers are the most susceptible, people who are in, a single income household. And so at the same time, black women are being told that, oh, yeah, you're strong, you got this, and you're impervious, and you can do all these things, and you're a goddess, is at the same time they're losing their jobs, and they are more vulnerable than anybody else. But society hasn't given black women a place to actually be vulnerable and say, I need help. Okay, I can't do this for myself. I'm not some superhuman that is above all of the aspects of femininity. I am just a woman myself. And it's so frustrating to me that I constantly get messages about women leaving their divorce and or leaving their marriages and being happier, or getting divorced and being happier, and talking about how they're able to thrive somehow the best when they're outside of the community, and when they're especially outside of a relationship with a man. And that is one of the most toxic and damaging things that has happened to the black family in America. It goes against God's design. God said be fruitful and multiply. He desired that men and women would work together, be interdependent. And this is happening at the same time black women are more vulnerable than any other time. And it is not lost to me that there is an agenda out there to completely destroy black women and make it to where they cannot survive. And the best way for them to do that is to isolate them and to keep them from their community, their God-given community, whether it be their family, whether it be their husband, their church, their spiritual leadership, to keep them away from the system that would actually ensure that they're able to thrive and able to manage with what is coming. And I think at a certain point, we have to look and start to reject messagings that is just really leaving women in survival mode. And it's just so frustrating for me to see over and over and over again propaganda that is doing nothing but keeping Black women struggling alone, but convinced that that's the best that they can do.
Yeah, I don't know what this interdependent business is. It's codependent.
Well,
Men and women are created to depend on each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's
Same thing. What I'm saying here is that what feminism is going to do is exactly what was done in the Black community. You're going to see a rise in single parent homes. You're going to see a breakdown of family structure. You're going to see more violence, because they push this into the Black community first. So go pay attention to what's going on there. You think you're any better as a human being? No. Everybody's going to succumb to that. You start breaking down the family structure, that's exactly what's going to happen. And some of these people, they make no bones that they want to destroy it, and that's what you're going to get. And then you're going to see more of them predators come up because they're going to be unhinged, told that they can do whatever they want. And you're going to push more people into that as they're getting groomed and they're getting abused and they're getting that pornography in the hands of children. This is a recipe for disaster, right? This ideology is destroying people, and there's a lot of people unhinged. You don't know what person inside of your school that you're putting your child in front of to learn whether they're not going to be indoctrinating them with this insane, unhinged type of mentality. And especially what they're pushing in the schools, this is what we got to think about. Anyway, we're running up here on time. I'm going to close here with a prayer, and I'm going to give you your final thoughts. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you this day. We thank you for your love, grace, and mercy. Thank you for the hope you've given us this day. Open our hearts and minds that we can come together as men and women, that we can come with mutual love and respect, and that we can do things to the honor and the glory of God, and that we can rebuild our families, our community, our churches, and our nation, that we can heal this situation and protect the children who need it the most is my prayer. In Jesus' name.
Amen. Thanks, Dad, for the prayer as always. Yeah, guys, this is crazy. Feminism is garbage. It's destroying the communities. We've been seeing that. If y'all want to end up like that, then go on with your bad self. But no, like my aunt used to tell me, I don't know why you do what you do, player, but it looks good on you. She says that to people. It's really funny. But yeah, that's not what you want to do. Men need to be men. Women need to be women. That's the only way. We need to work together. We need to be united and in God and family. Anyways, thanks guys for your time and consideration. We'll check you guys in the next one. And to my dearest Karis, until we meet again, my friend, and we will. Ciao.